Good morning, guys. My name is Sai Krishna. I'm going to host this today's SQL session. Before getting to the SQL session, we're going to understand the what exactly is SQL. Then after that, I will write some small queries in the SQL tool so that we can understand the what exactly is SQL in this session. First, we are going to understand the SQL facts. Before understanding the what is database, so how the data is important in the many organization. In today digital world, data is more valuable, right? So data is the smooth of functioning of the everything in your organization. Not only corporate organization, even the government departments, government organization will also manage the different database and different data source. Because of today, everything is operated in the database. So even the Flipkart, Zomato, everyone is completely depend upon the database. So without this data, the companies will not function in the operations in their organization. So the success of the company vastly depends on the how well they utilize their data. So that's the reason that this data come into this picture. For let's take an example, your name, like your age, whatever the data, all this data will be stored in the some database, right? Everything we consider as a data. So your name, your age, whatever it is. So all this will be stored in the one database. We have to store that information in one source. So an organized collection of data generally stored and accessed from a computer or the system. So it's an organized data. See, organized data in the sense, data organization is the way of the arrange the data, raw data into understandable data. For example, just a randomly created data into some data source. So if I want to access data, if I want to access that data, so I'm unable to access that data because of there is no structured data there. So because of I'm going to use the SQL to organize the data into a structured format. So simply everyone has aware on the hard disk, right? How the data will be stored in the hard disk. So the SQL tool is also stored in the data, all the data information in the databases. It's an organization collection of the data into form of a structure format. That's the reason we are going to call as a database. Okay, sorry guys. The next point is what is the purpose of the database? It is to organize the data. It may make it available in the convenient form of the view and analyze the purpose. For example, some example is a Naukri app. Here, not only Naukri app, we have a different applications like Amazon, Flipkart, Zomato, Swiggy. All these companies will just store the data into the databases. Based on the data, the companies will use the data and to operate the business operations in this market. So without the data, the companies will not operate the functions in the market. So the data is very important in the every company. This is how we manage the data. For example, if you want to buy a product in Amazon, so all this data is already to make a structure format in the backend database. For example, in the Amazon, we have a lot of products like electronics, groceries, everything will be there, right? So all this data will be in the backend side. It's a format, structure format. For example, if I want to buy a mobile phone, first if I simply click on it, automatically all the details will be coming to my interface. So because of in the backend database, all the data is it's a form in the structure way. So that's the reason that data will be coming into my interface. It's an organized way. For example, if I click on this particular mobile iPhone, so automatically it come into the latest version and price, everything it will be coming to the sequence order. It's a structured way. So the next point is what type of database are available or known. DBMS, database management system, and relational database management system. So here the difference between the DBMS and RDBM is, in DBMS the data is stored as a file format, and RDBMS the data is stored in the form of tables. Like in the RDBMS we call as an Oracle MySQL server, and in the DBMS we call as an XML Microsoft Access. We have to consider these databases in this DMS, and RDBMS we are going to consider Oracle MySQL server. We have a different cloud database servers also. So all this we consider the relational databases. And in RDBMS, data is stored in the large. We can in this RDBMS database, we can store the data. In RDBMS, we can store the data in a large amount of data. There is no limit to store the data in the database. So in the DBMS is stored in a small quantity of data. It have a limit to store the data in the DBMS. And RDBMS support the multiple users. For example, we are using the RDBMS. We are going to the MySQL server in this session. So this is a RDBMS. This will be help you to access the multiple users. But DBMS will support only the single user. It is a standalone application. So these are the difference between the DBMS and the RDBMS. And I will show you the next slide, the difference, more difference between the DBMS and RDBMS.
Sir, sorry to interrupt. Actually, what is the difference between MySQL and SQL?
So both are the same, but it's a MySQL is offer a it's MySQL company, and SQL is offer a Microsoft product.
MySQL offer which company?
MySQL have an own application like MySQL server. It's a completely it's completely another one, but SQL is offer the Microsoft product.
Okay, in the Microsoft system we can use the SQL.
Yes.
Okay.
Sir, can you explain again DBMS and RDBMS?
I will show you in the next slide the difference between the DBMS and RDBMS. We have a separate slide for that.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
This is just for your understanding. The BA will not at all involved in all this coding and practices. Just I will explain for your understanding purpose what exactly data and database. Guys, see what is SQL. SQL stands for structure query language. So in the structure query language, in the sense we have to manage the data into the structure format. SQL become a standard for the American. Sorry. SQL become a standard of the American National Standard Institute. Guys, don't move your cursors. It will be showing this. Nihar. Guys, please wait. I will cancel this one. Guys, don't move your cursors on the screen.
Sai, your voice is
Yes, yes, okay.
not audible.
What is SQL? SQL stand for Structured Query Language. SQL becomes a standard of the American National Standard Institute, ANS, in 1986. So SQL has become a standard language of the American National Standard Institute, ANS, in 1986, and of the International Organization for Standardization, ISO, in the 1987. The SQL is recognized. Nehar Patil.
Oh, sorry. I will just delete it.
Don't move your cursor on the desktop.
It's no okay?
That's not okay.
Yeah, okay.
So it's an ISO certified tool that's recognized by the ANSI, American National Standard Institute, in 1986, and this is the ISO mark, the International Organization for the Standardization, in the 1987. So guys, this is the important, very important sentence. We have to follow this. Why is SQL used and it is relatable to the business analyst? This is a very important point. You have to follow this point. So SQL is used to communicate with the database. According to the ANSI, American Standard Institute, it is the standard language for relational database management system. So here the SQL is communicated with the backend databases. So having different relational databases, SQL, MongoDB, MySQL Server. These are the relation databases. All these database will connected with some related some relational databases. So how BA will use this relational database in this tool? You can follow this point. SQL statements are used to perform tasks such as update data on a database or retrieve data from a database. So for a business analyst, mostly won't have to work on it. So business analyst will not at all involved in this SQL writing queries, like to create the tables, to write the insert the data. But BA will not at all involved in these activities. However, in some scenarios where BA is working for any banking or in any extra the tabular structure in order to check if the work for the application is tracking correct. Input as for the need of the client. It is a programming language that is designed to facilitate retrieving specific information from the database. So mostly the 95 guys, please mute yourself. Okay, mostly BA will not involved into the creating the tables and to update the data. It's completely this complete the roles and responsibilities of the database administrator. But why the BA will be awareness? But have BA has a awareness on this tool because of the BA will to manage some data. So based on the data, BA will create a reports to and to showcase the client. So that's the reason BA will understand about the data, how the data will, how the data will function in the backend database. But BA will not involve into the tools. Some companies like Flipkart, these type of companies may require the BA will some technical like basic technical skills to understand the data because of the for example, let's take an example of Zomato. Zomato is like a delivery application, right? We have then Zomato operate the customers in the different location. So business analyst will do the some market research in this company. So the based on that, business analyst will create on data by using the different tools, and based on that, business analyst will create the some reports by using the different reporting tools, Power BI, Tableau. These are tools. But BA will not create the not at all the data data into databases, not insert the data into databases. But the role is the BA to view the viewing purpose only. The BA will understand the data. The BA will not create the data. This is the whole meaning of this sentence.
So, sir, interviewer can ask what is the role of BA in SQL, or how SQL we can use in the BA role. So, how I have to discuss with the interviewer?
So basically, the BA will not at all involved in the SQL writing the queries. So the BA will directly connect with the technical team to understand the data, what the data will be running the backend databases. Okay.
Okay.
So it's completely viewing purpose. The BA will see the data, but BA will not create the data. So it's a
Sir, it is not necessary to learn the how to write a query of the SQL. What
no,
are
no,
the
no, 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 no,
syntax?
no.
Basically, I am learning that, so it is not.
But you have to,
useful.
but that's what I'm saying. But you have to create the awareness on the SQL tool. But it's not an mandatory, but it's required. Sorry, but it's not an mandatory.
Yeah, suppose that, sir, if I will select in another company, like apart from the Zomato or Flipkart, and company says that to do the query language, and if we not knowledge, then how we can perform?
Sorry. If you want to get the knowledge on SQL in the future, like after moving to this few years in this BA role, if you want to move into the different roles, of data analyst or some other role, data science roles, but in the time SQL will be helpful. But the BA will not completely involved in this SQL creation of the tables and to insert the data to delete the data. It's a completely
Any company, no one say BA to do the query or the right to query language.
See, in this tool, they have a separate team, like a database team.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay, guys, if you have any questions, please ask me after the end of the sessions. Like some participants will facing the difficulties to understand all these concepts. So how to ask the questions by ending of the session. So SQL facts. SQL is a practice done as SSMS demo of the dummy application. This application gives the new aspirants or learners an edge to get the familiar with an SQL app. Guys, if you want to learn the SQL, like SQL Server Machine Learning System is in the open source tool. We can simply open your Chrome browser and type the MySQL server. You can install that tool and you can practice the SQL queries in that tool. So this is the for practicing purpose who are learning to in the beginner levels.
Sir, from where we can download?
In Google.
What we will write?
MySQL server.
Download MySQL server.
Yes. It's a some lengthy process. If for reference, we have to check some video, YouTube videos. When COEPD says COEPD is not responsible for the installation of these SQL and Power BI these tools. COEPD is only responsible for MS Visio, Azure, and Balsamic. These are the standard tools that we are offering. All these tools are the awareness purpose, but we are not deep into these tools. This is an awareness purpose. These tools. Okay. Here under SQL, one can extend multiple reports for review and validation purpose, which may include IT, finance domain, banking domain, retail domain, and many more. So the SQL tool will use the not only like in one organization, SQL will use the different organization, even IT, finance, banking, retail, everywhere using the SQL data. Because of the data is very important. Without the data, the companies will not doing the operations in their business. So guys, this is the very important point here. Please follow this one. Fundamental functions of database and a part of a database are CRUD. CRUD means that the acronym of the CRUD is. So what are the roles and responsibilities of the business analyst in the three tools? Here, see, create. BA will not involve into the create the data. Read. The BA will have access or authority. Only the BA will read the data. The BA will view the data. See here the correct mark. So the BA will only option here is BA will have access or authority. So the BA will not at all create the data. BA will not at the update the data. BA will not at the delete the data. So the BA will have only authority to view the data. All these database will managed by the database administrator. BA will only for understanding the database and create the reports by using the Power BI, Tableau, different tools, reporting tools. So this is the very important point. You have to focus on this. The BA will have the access or authority. Features of DBMS and RDBMS. DBMS application stores the data in a file format. So here the database management system will store the data into file format. For example, if you have, let's take an example of different files like Excel. This type of the format, the database will be stored in the database. But RDBMS the data will be stored in the tabular format. I will show you in this tool how to create the data into tabular format by using the SQL tool. I have a sample practicing purpose. I will install the SQL tool. I will show you how to write the queries in the some basic in the tabular format. In DBMS, data is generally stored in either in a hierarchical form or a navigational form. Here, the hierarchical form is nothing but the sequential order, or the navigational form. Navigation is nothing but, for example, if you click on the one database, automatically it move into the next database. It's a connection. In RDBMS, the data have an identifier called the primary key and data value stored in the form of the tables. So in this RDBMS, you have going to use the primary key and identifier. For example, if you want to filter the data, for example, if you have to take the data of the students' data, so in the student data, we have multiple locations. For example, from one person is from Hyderabad, and again from again the one person is from Hyderabad, and again one person is from Pune. Whatever the person will repeated in the whatever the person have repeated multiple location, you want to filter that data, so you can use the identifier. The primary key is nothing but you have to identify the unique values. For example, if you give the one is multiple times, so if you give the primary key, the SQL server is not accepted the repeating values. For example, if you give the 1, 2, 3, then the SQL accepted the SQL accepted the discount. If you give the multiple words like multiple numbers, for one you can give the 2 times, but in this, if you are giving the primary key, the RDBMS is not accepted that. This is why we are using the primary key. I will show you in this tool also as well as. DBMS use the file system to store data, so there will be no relation between the tables. So in DBS, in this, when we are using this DBMS, using the file system, here there is no relationship between the tables. So in the DBMS, so mostly today, no one has using the DBMS. Everyone using the RDBMS system only. So here there is no relation between the tables. In the RDBMS, data values stored in the form of tables. So a relationship between these data values will be stored in the form of tables as well. So in this RDBMS, the data will be stored in the values. For example, if you give, the one value, automatically that data will be stored in the value. For that, we have to give the data type. So make sure you have to give the data type. Without the data type, the data will be not stored in that particular data in the RDBMS. DBMS is meant to be a small organization and deal with this small data. It supports a single user at a time. Basically, this DBMS is a small like a small organization will use. But today, today most of the organization will not use this DBMS. Every organization will use the RDBMS. The disadvantage of this is single user. This is a standalone application. Standalone application is nothing but there is no to share the option to the let's take a notepad. In the notepad there is no option to share the another person. So same in this DBM also, it's a single user person. Here there is no option to share the data into one person to another person. In our RDBMS is designed to handle large amount of data. It supports the multiple users. In this RDBMS, we can store the data into large amount of data, as well as we have to share the data into multiple users in the organization. For example, one developer will use the data in the one database. We have to share that data into the one developer. So we have to easily share by using this RDBMS. Examples of RDBMS, a file system like XML, etc. Few examples of RDBMS are MySQL, PostgreSQL, MySQL Server, Oracle, etc. So in this session, we are going to use the MySQL Server. These are the sample examples of the PostgreSQL Server, Oracle. These are the different tools we can consider as a RDBMS. DBMS is nothing the file system. So we have an HTML the file system, XML file system. We have a different file systems, right? So that's the reason we have mentioned the file system that has an XML. So the next one is
Excuse me, sir.
yes, please.
Sir, could you please elaborate the RDBMS once again, and especially on that part where primary key was mentioned and you were telling something about the relationship. What kind of relationship do we have, and what is that primary key?
So primary key is nothing but, for example, if you give the keys, like for example 1, 2, 3 have a sequence order, right? Hello.
Hello. Yes, I can hear you.
Unique number.
It's a unique key. For example, don't repeat the unique values in the database. That's the reason we're going to use the primary key. Okay. For
Not,
ex-
not
for-
getting it clear. Could you please
Sir, the
elaborate?
concept of key is not getting clear to all of us, probably.
which one? Primary key, right?
Yes, sir. Please elaborate that part.
I will show you in the database. That's the reason I'm,
Yes, sir,
I'm
the
not
key
getting
part.
to this in this way. I will show you in this tool, as well as I will explain you in that tool.
Okay. And what about the relationship, sir?
See, here relationship is nothing but I have one slide also. It's a database schema. In the database schema is the data will be stored in the different forms. The data will be the interconnection between the one database to another database. For example, you have to create the data into backend database for the login. So we have to connect that login database into the for interface. So we have to the communication line between the login database into the front end interface. I will show you in this database schema in the next slide. It will be easily understand that. Okay.
Okay.
So what can SQL do? SQL can execute queries against a database. SQL can retrieve the data from the database. If you want to get the data from the SQL, you can retrieve the data. And SQL can insert records in a database. If you want to pull the data into SQL, you can insert the data into databases. So SQL can update records in the database. For example, already we have existing data. If you want to update the data, if you want to add any extra data, you can use the update command. You can add the data. SQL can delete record from the database. SQL can whatever the database you have. If you want to delete some data, you can delete by using the delete command. So SQL can create the new databases. By using the SQL, you can create the new databases in this database. SQL create new tables in a database. We have to create the multiple tables by using the SQL database. Whatever the data, we have to store the multiple tables so that we can, by using the SQL tool, we can store the multiple data. SQL can create stored procedure in a database. This is a very important topic, but it's a very lengthy task. But business analysts will not involve not at all these tasks. So we are not discuss about this topic. So SQL can create the view in the database. So this is the very important for BA. SQL can create the view in the database. The BA will read the data, and then BA will understand the data, and based on that report, the BA will create the reports by using this Power BI and Tableau. So SQL can set permission on the table, processors, and views. So SQL have it's on security features. We have if you want to access the data without the permission of the database administrator, we can't access the tables. So have a structure processor, everything is managed in the structure format in the backend databases. Guys, tables in SQL are termed as called the mention as the below. A row is also called as a record. See, this is an record. We call it as a row. A column is called as a field. See, this is we call as one field. A unique key identify as a table row. If you give the primary key here all the values are different values. For example, if this one is repeated in the same multiple times, so for that we don't want to create that multiple values in one table. For that we are going to use the primary key. The primary key constraint uniquely identify the each record in a table. Please remember this point. The primary key, these are the constraints. Foreign key and primary key, these are the constraints. So but foreign key we are not discussing about that. We are going to discussing about the primary key only. The primary key is a constraint. You uniquely identify the each record in a table. See, all these data will be stored as unique. There is no repeated values here. That's the reason we are going to use the primary key. Guys, this is the sample data how will be the data will be stored in the backend database. See, if I click on this, these are the primary key. This is the primary key command. So if I give the primary key command, here there is no repeated values. For example, here there is a different values for a 1, 2, 3. All these are the different values. See, here also all these are the different values. See, all these are different values. Here there is no like same repeated values. If you don't give this primary key, automatically the SQL database will accept it as repeated values. By mistakenly, you will give the same one in the next field. So the SQL database will accept that. If you give the primary key, the SQL will not accept the repeated values. This is the unique key identifier. Tables are related by the keys, and tables keys are used to create relationship between the tables. It must be unique and cannot have null values. So foreign keys are used to connect two tables together by using the join statement. The join statement and the foreign key, these are the very lengthy topic, but it's completely working on the database administrator to connect with the one database to another database. But as a business analyst, we are just a reading purpose like that. See, for example, as I'm a business analyst, I'm just see these tables. So what is the item ID, what is the customer ID, what is the quantity price, what is the price, like that. I'm just observe this table. Based on that report, I will create the reports. But BA will not at all involved in the creating and update the data. It's completely access to the database administrator. Not only the company CEO also not access the data, because the data is very confidential. If you miss the any keyword in the database, the company will completely collapse. So that's the reason no one has access to the database. It's completely access the data as a database administrator. They have a separate key for that maintain the database. Guys, in the SQL commands, we have different SQL commands. These are the high level commands like DDL, data definition language, and DQL, data query language, DML, data manipulation language, DCL, data control language. These are the different commands in this SQL. So I will discuss each of this command. But we don't.
Can you go previous two slides? Previous two slides.
This one?
Previous. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Like that, the data will be look like in the database. So as a BA will not involve in that, but the BA will see the data. That's the reason I mentioned this slide in this page. So DDL data definition language, DDL data query language, the data manipulation language, the data control language. If you want to learn all these concepts, it's more than it took the 2 months, 4 months time. So, but we don't want to all these concepts, but we just understand what is this commands and how it will help. So DDL for create the procedure command is used to create the store procedure. A store procedure is a prepare the SQL code that you can save so that code can be reused over and over again and again. So this SQL command is used for create database or create the table. And alter the alter table statement used to add, delete or modify columns in an existing table. If you want to add and alter some existing data, if you want to add the extra data, so that time you can use the alter command. The alter table statement is also used to add and drop various constraints in an existing table. So if you want to add the different data into different formats, so that time we can use this alter table. So drop is nothing but the drop table statement used to drop an existing table in the database. Drop is nothing but delete. If you want to delete the database, you can use the drop command. Rename. Rename is used to the name of the existing database, like table, column, NU. Renaming a table does not make it, and lose any data is contained within it. So if you want to rename that particular database name, if you want to rename that particular table name, so at that time you can use the rename command. Comment to explain sections of the SQL statement to prevent the execution of the SQL statement. If you want to explain the different SQL statement within the database, so at that time you are going to use the SQL comments. So next, the DQL command. In this DQL command, we have consist of the
previous slide once, please. Sir, to the previous slide. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. And next one is DQL command. In this DQL consists of the select. It is used to select the data from a database. The data returned into stored in the result table called as a result set. As a BA, we will use this feature to stretch any desired data if required or asked. I will show you in this table. We are going to use this in session by in the select command. Say as a BA, we will use this feature to stretch any desired data if required or asked. Next, DBML, DML. In this DML consists of the insert. I add one more records to any single table in a relationship. If you want to add the data into like databases, you have to use the insert table and update. Update used to modify in the existing records in a table. So guys, here we have two commands will be used in this DML. One is the alter, second one is update. So update command is also used to modify the data and update the data table. But at that time, we have to use some specific tables. We are going to use the update command. Delete. Delete it used to the delete existing records in a table. For example, if you want to delete the complete table, so at that time we are going to use the delete option. By drop, we are going to use the whatever the data you want to delete. At that time, we are going to use the drop. Both are the deleting option, but we have a difference between here is whatever the data you want to delete in that fields. So at that time, we are going to use the delete option. If you want to delete the table, we're going to use the drop. Merge. It's used to make the changes in one table based on the values matched from another. It can be used to combine inserts, update, and delete operation into the one statement. So if you want to merge into one table to one table, at that time we are going to use the merge command. Next, the command is call. The call explain the statement and supported in the PL SQL when only executed the dynamically. This is not at all used in this anywhere in the MySQL server. This is only for to connect with the other relational databases like PostgreSQL, Oracle. If you want to connect that database, you have to use in the call. So next, explain pen to determine explain the Oracle database, follow to execute a specific SQL statement. This statement insert a row describing each step of the execution plan into a specific table. So this is we are going to use the tables. Like for example, we are going to SQL database to connect the for specific data to describes in the table format. Then next one is lock table to prevent the deadlocks and concurrent data changes and modification to maintain consistency and automacy of transaction of the data tables. So deadlock is nothing but we have to shut down all the database, whatever they have to, for if you want to if you as a database administrator, if you don't want to access to anyone, if you don't want to modification in that particular one, you can go into use the lock table.
So can you show us once DQL slide?
Guys, if you want to get this PPT presentation, you can see in this nursery in this student dashboard. You can go through that document option. In the document option, this SQL PPT session PPT available in this document option. You can go through that document. You can check that document.
So previous slide.
This one, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, if you want to take the snapshot, you can take the snapshot. This document is also available. This PPT is also available in the document option. You can go through that PPT. Next, the DCL commands grant to prevent the deadlocks and concurrent data changes and modification to maintain the consistency and automacy of the transaction of the data tables. If you want to get the access to the whatever the deadlock we have to in the previously we have and given the deadlock for the tables. So if you want to access that, we are going to use the grant command and to open the tables by using that grant. Next, revoke to improve the privileges on your user account for access on the database object. It revokes permission granted to user on the database object and also revokes the access the right assigned to the user. Here the revoke command removes every privilege initially granted to the user. Revoke is nothing but, for example, RDBMS will use the multiple users. For example, I want to access for particular table. So at that time, we are the database administrator by using this revoke command, and the database administrator will give the access to for that particular data. At that time, we are going to use the revoke.
Sir, sorry to disturb. Actually, sir, all the commands used by the business analyst.
No.
whatever you have
This is just for your understanding.
Okay, so business analyst can't use any command.
No. Business analyst will not open any comments. See, I will just, whatever the comments will business analyst, I will just mention here. See, yes, select. As a business analyst, we will use this feature to search any desired data if required or asked.
Okay,
Fine.
search any desired data if required.
Yes. For example, the BA will want to create some reports like by using the Power BI Tableau. So at that
Okay.
time, if the BA want to get the particular data, at that time the BA will use in the select command to get that particular data. I will show you in the SQL tool also. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Guys, this is the SQL scene. If you want to install the SQL screen, this is the Microsoft Server Management Studio. This is only for practicing purpose. If you want to install that, you can open your Chrome browser and type the MySQL server. This is the interface of the SQL. See, these are the password and username. But when we are installing that SQL server, you don't need the password and username. You can simply click on the connect. You can simply click on the authentication, the Windows authentication. Then after that, you can simply click on the connect. Organization will maintain the username and password, but for personal using, we don't want to any the username and password. You just simply click on the Windows authentication, then simply click on the connect. See, this is the data explorer from the SQL database. This is the canvas. Now I will show you the database schema. So here the database schema defines a new data into organized within relation database. See, here we have a different data. This is one data. This is one data. This is one data. All these data will be connection between the one database to one database to another database. That's the reason we are going to use this SQL for understanding the data into different forms. As I said in the earlier slide, for example, we are creating this database for the login functionality. So that login functionality, if I as a customer, if I want to log into the Amazon application, if I click on the login functionality, my data will be stored in that particular database from the login table. So after that, the data will be automatically connect to the interface. For example, I will just take an example of the interconnection. For this is my login page. This my data will be stored in this login table. Then automatically, if I click on the login, automatically my data will be shown from here. This is the interface. So history, for example, we call it history. So all this information will be from showing the interface. Like the everything in the backend database structure format, whatever the insert the data, everything we have to maintain the structure format. At that time, the BA will use the select command and to get the data, and based on the data, the BA will generate the reports. Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, please.
So can you exactly explain me about what is the schema? Because I am not getting what exactly the schema mean.
Schema is nothing but the to organize the data into a structural format. This is a simple definition. The schema is nothing but database schema. Schema is nothing but wait. Whatever the data we have stored in the database, the data will be stored in the structural format. For example, I will take an example of the another sign up. So I will create the one database, create for sign up. This is the sign up database. Okay, sign up and login. So this is my database. As a customer, if I want to log into the application, first I will click on the sign up button. Then after that, I will log into the application. For sign up, I will create one database here. So first I will create one database for the sign up. Then after that, if you want to log in, so then this sign up will automatically connect it to this login functionality. For example, I will take this one, and we have to connection between to this one. See, this is can you see my cursor? This is an actors. I will just simply for your understanding mention that functionality here. So this sign up functionality will this Finex database automatically redirected into this login database. So at that time, as a user, the system will allows me to search the products in the application. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
See, it's a it's a list of the logical structures of the data. See, it's complete the logical structures. So it will be only access that database owners, like who are using the SQL tool, who are the expert on that particular tool. That guys only using this maintaining all this data. So if you want to data, compulsory you have to take the permission from the database administration, and that. But you if you want to get the data at that time, we are going to use the only select command. By using that select command, you will get the data with permission of the database administrator. Without the permission of the database administrator, if you miss the any point here, automatically the website is completely collapsed. So that's the reason no one access due to the database complete database access. So the BA will also not involved in the to create the tables to update the data. So it's completely worked by the database administrator. These are the some SQL commands. Based on that, we are going to create the some table here. These are the syntax. Guys, now I'm going to show you the
please last slide.
Yeah, now I'm showing you the how by using the SQL tool, I'm going to create the some tables here.
Sir, are these commands used by the BA?
No. BA will just BA is using only the select command.
Sir, I heard that someone said that the BA is necessary to write all the SQL syntax or the command. So
No.
I am learning, and sir, you think that not needed. So which one is true?
No. See, in COPD, almost we have trained the more than 10,000 plus thousands. We are getting the daily interview calls from the different students. So most of the questions, the interviewer, that the SQL is required but not mandatory because of this understanding purpose of the database.
The means required that we need to know that what are the parts of the SQL, like DBA means DDL, what are the means types, but not need to write the syntax or everything.
No. If you want to get the data from the SQL database, you can going to use the select command. I will show you in the table. Wait for that. Okay.
So can you take any example, like if some BA is doing practically work over there? So can you make us understanding by this?
Sorry.
Can you take one example how BA are using that SQL?
No. See, that's the reason I'm going to use the SQL tool. Then after that, I will explain you that. Wait,
Fine.
I will explain you the tool by using the SQL tool. Okay. Wait, I will open the SQL tool and I will explain you that how the BA will work on that particular database. Now I'm explaining the tools. Wait. Guys, can you all see my screen, my SQL tool?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. This is the SQL interface. This is the object explorer. We have and different options will be the database, security objects. So this is the canvas area where we are going to create this data. So actually I don't have an data. I don't have an access to that particular data, our data. So for that, for your understanding, I will create the small data here. So first, if you want to create the data, so creating the data is also not my responsibility. For your understanding, I will create the data. So I simply create first, if you want to create the data, first you can simply click on this database, click on the right click, then click on the new database. So I will give the database name here. For example, I will give the name SQL session, but database name is SQL session. Then after that, I simply click on the OK. So if you want to check that database is created or not, so you can simply click on this plus. See, the database is created. See here, SQL session, the database is also created. So after creating the database, if you want to create a table, for that, first I'm just click on this SQL database. Whatever the database you want to create the table, first you have to click on the database. Then after that, I simply click on new query. See, this is the canvas which will open here. So here I'm going to create a table. One table, that is the so I will create the sample table. First I will create the create command. So create and table name. First you have to give the table name. Table. What is the table name here? Like I'm going to use a table name as student admission details. Student admission details. Then after that, open parenthesis. Then after that, here I will create the data. So first I will create the student ID. Guys, this command is used for create the table. So create table. This is the command for create the table. Then you have to give the table name. This is the table name. If you want to create the table, make sure you have to give this command, create command. Then after that, I'm going to create the one table, that is student ID.
Student name.
Yes, wait. Student ID. The data type here is the integer because the ID is a number, right? So I'm going to use the int. Then after that, comma. Then student name.
Inter int
Integer.
Okay.
Yes. ID is an value, right? It's a number.
Okay. Primary key.
Yes.
Student name will be variable, right?
Yes. Varchar. So varchar, that we call as a varchar. I will show. Please wait. Let me complete this table. Then after that, you can ask me doubts. Then after the student name. Student name. So here I'm going to use the varchar. Varchar will define the text. So I'm going to use the varchar here. So I will give the limit for my name. I will give the name around the 200 watts. So then comma. Then after that, student location. Student location. Guys, I'm going to just create the sample data for your understanding. Student location. Then next, the student location is a varchar. So I'm just to mention the student location varchar. Same, I will give the same value here, 200. Again, comma. Then after that, student domain. For example, student domain. Domains. So I will give the varchar here, same. Then I'm going to use the comma. Then after the student mobile. Then the mobile number is the integer value. It's a number. So I'm going to use the number. After that, I'm going to close this parenthesis. Then after that, I'm going to the command. So here I will create on data. So I will execute this data. If data is correct or not. So I simply select this all this data. Then I simply click on the execute. See here the command is successfully completed. So here data is successfully inserted in our database. So here how can we see the data? So if you want to see that particular data, so we are going to use the select command. Guys, please remember this select. SCL select star from where? From the student details. So I'm going to use the star from what is the table name? Student admission details. So student, see already here database name is student admission database. See if I simply select this one and then click on the execute, see here the data is showing student ID, student name, student location, student domain, student mobile number. If you want to insert the data into that particular tables, again, I'm going to use the one more command, that is insert into. Insert into. Insert into table. My table name is student admission detail. So I will give the table name here. Student. See, this is my table name. Again, I'm going to give the values. This is the attribute, guys. This is the attribute. We call it as an attribute value. So again, I will take the open parenthesis. Then here I'm going to value. This is an ID. So I'm going to use the ID 100. Then comma. Then after that, student name. I will going to create the Pratik. So guys, if you want to give the name, first we have to give the united commas here. So Pratik, close this one and comma. Then after that, location Pune. Again, I'm going to use that Pune. Then comma. Then domain banking. Comma. Banking, comma, again here is the value. This is a mobile number value. So I'm going to use the 987. Then after that, I will close this command. See. Then I will execute this one. So I simply select this one, click on the execute. So one row is affected. So this database inserted into the table. If you want to see the data, again, you can use the select command. So I simply already I give the select command. So I simply click on the select command here. Then I will execute same that. Yes, please.
You give their value is 100. Why there is 100 you give the value?
You can give the any values, one also, just for your understanding, I'm give the 100 value.
Okay.
See if
and why like integers do not have any limit, like
integer in the sense it's a data type, it will be considered as a numbers.
Okay, so there is no limit.
Yes, there is no limit. See, I will change this value 1. So again, I will same click on it, execute. See, one row is affected. Again, if you want to see the data, then you can select the select command. See, the data is pulled into this database. So if you want to change the names here, so I will give the names as a Kumar and Hyderabad sales. Again, you have to insert into data, then click on execute. It's the incorrect sentence. So this it will be showing the error. I think someone somewhere is mistake.
Yeah,
No,
the
this is all correct.
Primary key. You didn't selected the full.
No, the primary key is same.
The student ID
ID is repeated. That's why it's giving error.
Yes, exactly.
So the student ID is same.
Okay, no issues. If you want to create like this, you have to create the database. Again, here I will going to create this primary key. See, here I'm not giving the primary key, not at all. See, here there is no repeated values. Again, see, I will delete this one. If you want to delete the data, guys, please remember, I will give you the one more command also. If you want to delete the total table, so I'm going to use the drop. This is the for deleting the data complete table. Drop table. Again, my table name is student admission details. Student admission details. See, then after that, click on the table. See, command successfully completed. See, if you want to see the data, here there is no data because of we delete the data. Drop table by using this drop command, we are using the data. That's the reason the data is been not showing here. So if you want to, again, the data will be insert, then you can select it. And again, we can select from student details. Again, if you want to insert that, again, execute. One row is affected. Then if you want to see the data, then if you want to see the data. So guys, now here I'm going to use the primary key here. what if happen the primary key? See, if I give the primary key. For example, if I give the primary key, if I repeat the same values here, see what it will happen. This will be showing the error. I think it's something is missed. Okay, wait. Again, I want to create the execute the data and one more thing. What is? So guys, this is how we create the database. If you want to give the primary key here, you can simply click on the primary key here. Okay, automatically the data will be not showing the repeated values here, but in my slide it will be showing as repeated values. So for that, I'm going to create the I'm going to delete that table.
Maybe you
we have a
selected
doubt
value
here.
1, that's why.
Again, I'm going to delete the table. See if you click on the table. Guys, we don't want that much of the knowledge. Just this is enough for that. We are going to use the only the select command that is for to viewing the database. Okay, like that, how to using these are the basic commands as a business analyst. Okay, don't go into deep into that. If you want to get the knowledge on the SQL tool, you can learn that for particular commands, everything. Okay.
So some small doubt here. Do we need to separately give the primary key, or it's by default it will be there?
If you want to give that primary key, you can give the primary key. Actually, you have to give the separate value for that table. Every table you have to give the primary key.
Okay. Always there will be no column, separate column for the primary key.
No,
So
no,
the same repetitive value can be entered over there.
Yes. Again, two types of database you have to create. If you want to create the data again, I'm just explaining purpose. So you can simply click on this one. If you want to create the table like this, if you want to create this here, like that also have to create the table. See, for example, if I simply click on it,
Where you click for this screen?
this one tables, whatever the database I created. So I will show you that. For example, if I click on this is my database here. So this is my, this is my database name, SQL session. Again, I simply click on it. Then again, if you want to create the table, simply click on the table, then create the new table. Automatically the table will be created. For example, if you want to create the table here, this is the one type to create the table. That one is the one type to create that. That is a very simple to use. So same, if you want to give the name, again you have to give the name. For example, student ID, like that you have to same student ID, this data type. Sorry, wait. Student ID. So this is integer. This is name. If you want to give the limit the words, you can give the limit the names. Like that, you have to give the particular one. See, in this table, you have to simply click on the primary key. If I click on this here, the primary key is activated by using the table. This is the one type to create the table. That one is the one type to create the table. You have to create the tables in two different types. Okay. But we don't want all these confusions about this when learning as a business analyst. Just to create by using the database, you have to get the knowledge on the select command, and you have to some basic commands, create, drop. These commands is enough. Okay.
Sir, could you please explain that part once again?
This one?
Or the table one?
Table one, right? So if first I will delete this one, wait. So if you want to delete the ones, click on that. Again, I'm going to delete this one also. Close again. See, if you want to get that get the data, so here also we can create the data. This is the one type to create the data, to create the tables. Again, if you want to create the tables format, if you want to create them table wise, so I simply click on the database, then click on the SQL session. This is my database. This is my my database name is SQL session. So I simply click on the right click on it. Simply right click on it, tables. So again, I will simply click on it, tables, then create the new table. Automatically the table is opened. So here the name, for example, student ID. Int, this is an type now alone null values. So then again, student name. See, this is a text, right? So we're going to varchar. Same like that, only have to create the same the way. Database student location. Again, I'm going to here. I'm going to value give the 50. Same. If you want to give the primary key here, you can simply right click on it. Simply right click, automatically this primary key is activated because of here the null value is allowed. This is very confusing tool actually. That's the reason I'm not explaining this one. Set the primary key. If you want to give the primary key, you can simply click on the select primary key. Here primary key is there is no multiple values in the same table. All these values are different values. Okay.
Yes.
Then automatically move into the next table. So this is how we created this basic SQLs for your understanding purpose. So don't involve into the SQL more on that. We have to focus on your workshop concepts, like whatever the concept we have on that. We have to focus on your waterfall and agile concepts in that. We have to focus on these tools like Balsamiq, MS Visio, Azure. But you have to get some knowledge on the SQL as well as. I'm not suggesting you to don't touch with the SQL. You have to get the knowledge on the SQL as well as.
Sir, I just have a doubt here. So in the current slide which you're showing, like you have created using this formula or whatever, and we were able to see the table, and then you have created, like you have uploaded some data in the table, like this. Can you please go to the databases and tables? Like we have just uploaded some details and all. No, where can we view the table there? We have just
No, I already showed you now.
This is okay. This table we have seen, but you have given some column name and row name, right?
The database. We have to select and click on it and then fill in the
Table which you
yeah.
So once again repeat this slide, sir.
This one, right?
Yes, sir.
No,
Okay.
the data.
For that, I'm just simply creating this one table, deleting that. So completing, first I will delete this one, close. Again, close, click on close. If you want to delete that one, simply click on close. And so again, I'm going to create the new database for your understanding. Again, I'm going to create new database. Simply click on the new database, then name. Awareness session. Again, click on the OK. So here my database is created. Awareness session. This is my database. If you want to write the query on this in this database, you can simply click on this awareness session. Then again, you can simply click on the new query. See, again, if you want to create a table, then simply click on the create table. This is for the creating command to create the table. So again, I'm going to customer details. Again, I'm going to my table name is customer details. So I'm going to open the open parenthesis. Then I'm going to create the customer ID. And I'm going to use the int and customer name. I'm going to the varchar. Customer name is a text. So I'm going to the limit of this my word is 200. Then comma. Then I'm going to create this customer location. Then I'm going to create the varchar here. Then I'm going to create the location and I'm going to close this one and comma. Then after that, customer mobile. Then here I'm going to give the integer and comma, and again I'm going to close this parenthesis and I will give the comma. Again I'm going to execute this query. So simply click on this. So this command is executed. So if you want to see the data, select
Sir, what is the difference between here SQL session and awareness session? What if we click on the SQL session and the right queries there?
that's this is one database, this is one database, right? In the first one I will create this one, this is one particular database, this is second database.
Okay, okay.
Both are the different databases.
But the functionality is same, right?
Yes. If you want to create the multiple tables in the one tool, we have to create the different database names here.
Okay.
Okay, and again I'm going to select this star from my database name is customer details. So again I'm going to click on this. See, the data is open here. So if you want to insert data, insert into my database name is customer details. Again values, this is the attribute values. Again open parenthesis, first one is ID 1 comma open, the name is Krishna. I'm going to comma and the location is Pune. And comma, then mobile number 87. Then I'm going to select this one, insert data.
So why we are not giving open and close comma over there into integer?
Sorry?
As we are giving for the name Krishna and Pune open and close comma over there. So why we are not giving it for the int?
This is a value, right? So for values, we are don't creating that.
Okay, for value only we are giving.
Yes.
For int we are not giving.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, this is how we created this data. So if you want to repeat that multiple one, you can simply click on the execute. Then you can simply select and select. If you want to change the names, like if you want to change the database, you have to create that. Like that, you have to create the database. Okay. Okay, guys, this is the how we created the data into like by using the SQL database. So if you want to get the more knowledge on the different commands and different tools, you have to prefer the online the many sources. So in this, as a business analyst, we are going to focus on the viewing purpose and read the data. So not only business analysts in the organization, no one has access to the database. So the database will access for the database administrator to access that particular data. For this data, everyone need the data is for understanding data. For example, let's take an example of the data analyst. Data analyst will take the data from the databases and analyze that particular data, but data analyst will not access the data. By with the help of the database administrator, the data analyst will the data and to create the different analytics on the organization. But the database, data analyst not have access to all the data. It's a permission. So as a business analyst also, for just open the data and see the data, based on the data, the business analyst create the reports. This is the activities BA will do in an organization in the SQL tool.
Sir, is there any data that we can view now? Because as a BA, we are not supposed to create all this, but view and access the data, right?
No. Actually, we have an that much of large amount of data. For your understanding, that's the reason I'm going to create the small table here.
Okay.
Data is a very confidential, right? So
to create a tables, we have to enter like this. For big data, we need to go in the same way or
same way, but different companies will use the different tools, right? For some companies will the Oracle, some companies with the SQL, but these data types are the same. For the few tools will be the data types is different. It's completely depends of the company to company. The most of these structure, this format is this one only, but some Oracle, PostgreSQL, some different tools will be the data types is different.
if the table size is very big, so we need to enter the same like this.
Same command. If you want to any data, see, that's the reason I'm going to using the select command. Select star from where you want to, from customer details, from here to here, all this data. So that's the reason I'm going to use the select command. Select from star from where, from customer details, and from the end. All the data I want to see that data. So that's the reason I'm going to select the command, select command.
Even it is
How to view the data, sir? Then this is you are inserting into this customer details, but how to view the data which is already preloaded in the database?
You are going to use the select command.
Okay.
Already you know the table name, right? And then you can use the select command, and from you can use the table name, you can view the data.
Okay.
Okay, guys. Thank you. If you have any doubts, please ask me. Then I will close the session at 12:30. If you have any doubts, please ask me.
How do we create this primary key in the below table, sir? That you have already created customer details. No, how to create a primary key in this?
For primary key, you can simply click on right here, the name, the primary key.
SQL is a freeware software. We can download it.
Yes, it's an open source software. It's you can for practicing purpose, you can use that tool.
Okay.
Is it SQL or MySQL that we can download?
MySQL server.
Sir, once again, repeat this drop and after the insert table, sir. Use this drop and once again insert. How
Okay.
to
Okay, I'm going to use the drop again. Drop table. My table name is customer details.
Primary key is not visible, right?
But primary key will not be affected here. The primary key will only not accept the values. But the
where is it affected then?
Wait. I will show you that.
Okay.
So I will completely delete the table. Okay. So here there is no data. If you want to see the data, so here there is no database. Already I deleted the data. So if you want to insert the data, see, simply click on view. Again, the data is inserted. Then if you want to if you want to insert the data, then click on the row, and row is affected. Then select the table. Then I'm going to insert one more, this one. See, incorrect sentence, because of here we are going to use the primary key. I will give the same value here. One is repeated again. So that's the reason the syntax is error. Okay. Here this primary key is affected here. The syntax is incorrect. Yes, but we don't want to focus on this primary keys, all these things. We don't want this one also. Just to use in the select command, you can use view the data. We don't want to focus on that.
Sir.
Yes, please.
What? Yeah.
Sir, what is the difference between Excel and SQL, sir? Because I'm the basic person.
Sorry.
Excel and SQL, how we can use it? I mean, as a BA.
SQL, right? So basically, MS Excel is not an it's an security purpose. In the SQL, if you want to access the data, you have a secure password. But in the Excel, but we are not maintain the large amount of data. We have a certain limit up to store the data into database. But in the SQL, there is no limit to store the data, and it's a very highly secured. This SQL tool is maintained by the top companies. Okay, so we have maintained the with the security keys. So for security purpose, we are going to store the data in the backend database.
Okay.
Sir, so is there only like primary key or any other keys are also present in SQL? Because recent times I have attended an interview which they have asked me for some keys. I was not able to
Foreign key.
What is a foreign key?
Foreign key is nothing but to join this one database to another database.
Like the inner joins.
Yes, is inner joins, exactly.
Okay.
Okay.
So sir, out here, so we have created this table. So am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Yeah. So out here we have created this table as customer details, and as a BA, we would require certain details from a table. So when we are working on a particular project and we require certain details from a table, so we need to contact the database administrator for that.
Yes, definitely have to. First, we have to took the permission from the database administration. If the database administrator will agree with that our concern, then the database administrator will give the access. At that time, we are going to use with the help of the database administrator.
Okay, sir.
Sir, I have one doubt. Like in the interviewer will be asking us write a queries like there is a lot of queries in the SQL, right? So
No.
will going to ask queries also, like only this much is enough to attend interview?
Mostly 90% of the companies will not ask you to write the SQL queries in this in the interview. So like recently we placed in this month, we have more than 40 plus students, but no one has raised this type of the questions, or no one has asked the questions. So some specific companies will require to like a basic understanding about this SQL. Like what type of companies like that, Swiggy, Zomato, Flipkart. These companies will ask us some little bit that, because of these companies will manage a large amount of the customer data, right?
Yes.
So as a business analyst, we have to do the domain research as well as we have to understand the data. That's the reason some companies will ask you the some commands. These are the basic commands: create, insert, drop. These type of the commands will require.
Okay, so that they will ask only the definition and what you know about it, right?
One thing I forgot to tell you: make sure you have to read the every definition. Okay.
Okay, like we should not be reading with the queries, right? So because it will be use queries for higher salary and all stuff.
Yes.
Okay, like joins will be important, right?
Yes, joins will be important, but it's a very lengthy topic. It's very complicated topic also.
Okay, so and joins we should be knowing what is the inner join, outer join, like only the above part, not like a query part, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so
so joins are necessary for a business analyst, sir?
No, not necessary.
Sir, yesterday I was searching on the YouTube regarding the joins, so it is not necessary for BA.
Yes, it's not necessary for BA. If you want to pro into the SQL, you can learn that joins option. These are joins also very important topic, but for BA not necessary.
Means when we select as a BA in any company, we have no access to create or manipulate or modify any data.
No, everything you do with the help of the database administrator only.
Means the access only we have the database administrator, not in BA.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We only see and manipulate the data with the help of analyzing.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, sir.
And so data analyst also will do these things, right?
Yes.
Even they have access for SQL and all, right?
Yes. But everyone has with the help of the database administrator only.
Okay,
it's a high level permissions from the project manager, like whatever the organization have the certain organization MD, vice president, we have to get that permissions when we are operating the large amount of data. Team lead, we
Okay,
can
okay.
get the permission from the team lead.
Okay.
Sir, which
Even data,
which
even data
definition are you
analyst
talking?
also will be.
Sorry.
Even data analyst also will be taking the permission, or like they
Yes,
already have the
everyone
access?
also, even the some companies, CEO also not have access to the data because of CEO don't have knowledge on the database, right?
Yes.
So that's the reason CEO also not access the data. CEO also took the permission the database with the help of the database. CEO also view the data. No one has access. Even for example, if I give the large amount of data, what should I do? I don't know the commands, right?
Okay.
So this is a very sensitive information, whatever the data is stored in the databases.
Sir, so if in my resume I will like if I give a statement like I know basic knowledge of SQL, then what kind of questions can I expect in an interview?
Like we have to expect the basic questions, whatever the questions, whatever the level of you have to mention in your resume, you have to expect that type of the questions only. Mostly many of the interviews, what I observe is most of the questions will not on the SQL. Mostly questions on the asking the BRD, FRD, subject related.
Okay.
Okay, so like in BRD, FRD, they will give some scenario and they will tell us to prepare also. BRD.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So, which definition were you telling about that you have to take care of those definitions for the interview?
Yes, you have to make sure you have to prepare the definitions.
Definitions means which one are you talking about?
Like commands definition, for example, why should we create the
DML,
yes. What is primary key and what is foreign key? We have to go through the definitions.
Okay, so these are the only definitions. Primary key, foreign key, these 4 commands, and anything else?
No. We have to go through the commands. And for example, create. Why should we create the? What is the definition of the create? And why should we? When we going to go using the create? Like that,
Okay,
we have
so those definition of all those commands: create, read, update, delete, and all that. Okay, sir.
Yes, exactly.
Sir, in interviewer asks such as a basic of the SQL that which command we use for the create any database in SQL.
No. Interviewer, no one asked to write the SQL queries.
No. What is the syntax for that? Can interviewer ask?
No. As of now, the we're not listening the that type of the questions from till now. Basically, the interviewer focusing on the tools like MS Visio, Balsamic, Azure, these are type of tools. SQL is specific for some companies only. Not all the companies will prefer the knowledge on the SQL. Only few companies will ask the SQL knowledge.
Which company, sir?
Few companies.
Okay.
I think the financial banking domain is must.
Yes. Guys, thank you for joining this session. If you want to get the record, if you want to get the recording also available in the library section. We can go through that recording. We can once again you can repeat that recording also.
Sir, is present PPT available in library?
Yes, PPT available in the library in the document feature.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, thank
Sir,
you.
I have one more doubt. Like the awareness session, which is Power BI and Tableau, right? So for their like interviewer asks like whether you know or not, or they will tell us to do something using that tool also.
The interviewer asks how much knowledge we have on the particular tools.
Okay.
They just ask how much. Just honestly tell the whatever the knowledge you have that, so that the interviewer will also happily accept that.
Okay, so whatever in the videos it is, that much we can tell, right?
You know that the Power BI and Tableau is very simple. You can easily create the data. And the next 12th, next Sunday will be the Tableau session, I think so. You can check the library option. You can attend that library session also.
So sir, so since we have been taken through, as to how the SQL actually works, or what are the actions that we are supposed to take. So this was just an overview, but how are we going to actually apply the tools on the projects that we are gonna do in our nurturing process. So if you could just tell something about that. I mean, you know, how are we gonna apply those tools? Would we be taken through a dummy project, or is it like, you know, we would start on a project, and in case if we get stuck, then we are gonna raise that with the concerned person?
In the overall the nurturing process, as a students, we only worked on the MS Visio tool, Azure RP tool, Balsamiq tool. These are the tool we are going to use, and other SQL, Power BI. These tools are not used in this nurturing induction, nurturing preparation, because of this is the only the awareness sessions for the when we are attending the interview. This is for the awareness sessions. If you want to get the hands-on experience on that particular tool, in the those tools are we are going to use the nurturing preparation in the capstone project and live project. These SQL and Power BI, these tools are not at all used in this nurturing preparation.
Okay, so in the capstone project, we would be taken through on how to actually apply those in a particular project. So correct me if I'm wrong.
So already the tools is provided based on,
Yes.
actually we have certain questions in the capstone project one related to waterfall concepts. So by using the tools, we have to create the use case diagrams and activity diagrams and wireframes prototypes. Okay, if you want to get that reference videos in the capstone project, you can get the reference videos in the library option. You can go through that reference video.
Okay, sir. Yeah.
Okay, thank you guys. Thank you for attending the session. I'm
Sir,
going.
sir, can you create one awareness session once again like that for again once?
For what?
Awareness session you created already, right? Awareness database SQL session and awareness session.
Sure.
Once create one again once like
Okay,
that.
sure, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you guys. Thank you for joining the session.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.